Um, I know. Hi, Carmisha. I'm trying. Hey, Travis, I'm gonna let you in a sec. Um, it's just, it's been a crazy time. Hey, sis. Hey, mom. Hey, Kev. Thank you guys. Um, hey, Job Security. So, I more nervous than ever because of the intensity of the times and the conversations that we're about to have tonight. So, thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. I definitely have been having a heavy heart, during all of this. First, we started with COVID, which we still haven't even fully recovered from. And now, with all of the injustices and police brutality going on, it's just a really, really intense, heavy, sad, just really hard time. And I felt like an obligation to open up my platform and talk about this because I wanted to as well. I think that the more of us that bring awareness to all of this in whatever way we bring awareness, whether it's a protest, whether it's sharing knowledge, whether it's sharing resources and empowering our community, whether it's providing healing and some mental health techniques and things like that to cope with all of this, whatever it is that we are good at, that we give from our heart, that's what we should be doing during this time. So definitely that's, this is what I'm doing now. And hey, the essence. And I just been feeling really down and out. And I even was kind of like looking for a workout tribe, and I took a walk to the park on Tuesday, and I actually bumped into my new workout crew. So shout out to Veronica. She leads the fit team, and that's been really great, and it's been helping a little bit, with my mental health, just being there with everyone who's trying to better themselves, and who's coming together as a community, no matter what race, like it's the team is growing so much, and we have Latinos, we have Black, we have white, we have just a unity coming together to help each other, get fit and get healthy and things like that. And this is what we need in the world right now, just everyone to come together, which I see a lot of us doing, but I did see comments the other day which I posted on my social media that I really didn't like, and it was coming from part of my culture, but it wasn't everyone from that country. But just the ignorance and things like that. Like, people have to see the bigger picture, the bigger message in this, which is coming together for a cause and supporting our Black community. We are all Black. I consider myself Afro-Latina, and I say this all the time. I'm a proud Latina. I'm a proud Afro-Latina. And, just some of my best friends are Latinas and are Latinos and Black. One of my best friends, which I was just talking to her today to get, a little bit of feedback on what topics I should bring and things like that. She has 4 like amazing Black boys that she's raising, and one of them is a teenager. I have a Latino teenagers that I'm raising, a boy and a girl, and just God forbid, like, to think that anything, it can happen to any of us. That's what breaks my heart, and that's the message right there. That's why we're standing up, because it can happen to any of us. The racial profiling is real. It's happening in our communities. It's happening with minorities. So right now we have to just stand up together for the 2 lives that have recently been lost. Breonna Taylor, today's her birthday. She was turning 27 years old. I mean, she was a first responder. She was killed in her own home. She was an essential worker. It's just so sad. And then George Floyd, just 8.5 seconds, I think it was, or something like that, that they took his life away. He wasn't breathing. He called out for his mother. Just everyone that was watching, pleading for the officers to stop. It's just been really sad, and it's just really crazy, and it just shows how much, even talking with my girlfriend, and she's a Black woman, and her telling me just the history and everything. It just seems like we haven't made much stride. We just keep sweeping everything under the rug, and no change is really happening. So I can understand why people are outraged. I can understand why people are tired. We're tired. Black Americans are tired. Like, it just has to stop. Something has to change, So I want us to continue to all come together. And again, in whatever way you feel comfortable in you know, making your voice heard, whether it's being a protester, whether it's being in your community, whether it's helping people heal, whatever it is, you know, it's up to us to do it right now. And that's why I'm here having this live tonight. And you know why I just feel so passionate. You know, last night, and I'll be quick because I want to get Travis on. Last night, my children's father and I had a conversation with the kids once again, you know, and you know, just letting them know that they have to be, you know, safe outside, and letting them know that they could be racially profiled and stopped, and you know, and you know, just I just feel like why are we having these conversations? Why do our children have to feel fear? You know, if they're not out here hurting other people, if they're not out here as, you know, threatening anyone's life, why do they have to feel like this? It's just a really crazy thing and crazy time for me, you know, and I just, you know, hey, Shantae, you know, Shantae is, you know, she has a really great group, and you know, these women are amazing, and they're all, you know, they've been actively talking about going to the protest, and you know, sharing their feelings and sharing their thoughts, and it's just so sad. It's just a really sad time. And I just wanted to mention that everyone has been grieving in their own way, right? So I just mentioned that. So tonight I wanted to bring 3 different levels of perspective of 3 you know, Black men who are dealing with the situation very differently, and I respect all 3, you know, and I just wanted to bring that tonight. So definitely we're gonna get started tonight with Travis Bivens, who has been on the front line protesting, and he has seen firsthand, you know, the police brutality during the protest and everything like that. So we're going to get that perspective. We're going to talk to Mr. Kevin Pryor, who's now watching, and, you know, we're going to talk about how to help our communities, you know, how to bring funding into our communities, how to create equity in our communities. And then we're going to talk to my birthday twin, my Capricorn twin, Chef Corby, who used to live in New York, but definitely still has New York roots. You know, and he's also a brother who, you know, helps people through healing, through organic food and spirituality. I just watched his, one of his lives the other day, and it really touched me, and I really wanted him to come in and kind of close out the evening with just some positivity and ways to heal, because we're grieving right now. We're angry, we're sad, we're just feeling all of these emotions, not to mention we still haven't even recovered from what we were feeling with COVID. So everyone is in a really distraught place right now. So I thought it was really important to kind of, you know, bring this tonight, and I hope that you guys appreciate it. You know, I did want to mention 2 positive things before we move on. I wanted to shout out all the graduates, you know, that unfortunately didn't get to walk, you know, down the aisle and get their diploma, but I don't want you to look at it as a negative thing. You graduated, you accomplished something. So this is a time where you take all of that knowledge, all of that, you know, everything you learned and that community you build, to bring it into your community, to talk to your friends about everything that's going on. Let's educate each other about our different cultures. You know, I always learn a lot from my Black friends, you know, the conversations they have with my Latino friends, I have white friends, I have, you know, friends from all different cultures. So this is the time, you know, to do that. And congratulations to the 2020 graduates. I also saw something pretty cool. They created like a Black Lives Matter mural that Diensa's actually sent it to me. And I posted it in my stories right outside the White House. That's amazing. That's awesome, you know. And also I wanted to say that we have only, I mean, a death is a death, and it's still something that we don't want at all. But we have brought our COVID deaths down to 42 people. So that right there is amazing. I am so happy, because that's another thing that has had me really, you know, in a sad state, just how many lives were lost, you know, due to this coronavirus. We lost a family member. So many people lost friends and family members. So, you know, that's a really positive thing. So I just hope that now with these protests, everyone is still wearing their mask. Everyone is still, you know, taking precaution, whether it's real, whether it's not real, whatever it is, still take precaution. We don't want it to start spreading again. You know, we're just, hey, marksmen, we're just starting to open up. So definitely take precaution while you're out there in the protests in more ways than one. So without further ado, I'm gonna bring in Travis. Let's see if I can find his request real quick. Sorry, Travis. Just wanted to get some feelings and thoughts out for the people. All right, let's see if I can click on this. All right, I'm about to request or accept your request rather. Make sure the volume is up. Hey, Travis.
Peace, peace.
How are you?
I'm good. It's super humid randomly. Super humid.
It's very humid. Yes, it is
Yeah,
very humid. It's been raining on and off too for the past few days. So,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
yeah, I'm a very deep thinker. So for me that has like some kind of philosophy and everything. But yeah, it's super humid. But thank you so much
I'll
for
dig it.
being here with me tonight. I really appreciate it.
No problem. My pleasure.
Yeah, so for everyone who doesn't know, Travis Bivens is an activist. He has recently been attending and supporting and fighting on the front lines. He has been a victim of brutality and has witnessed it firsthand. He also shared with me
Yeah,
that once things get dark, that's when everything gets a little crazy, and I definitely wanted to have him on and talk about his experience out there and let us know, hey Jesse, and let us know everything that that's been going on, and yeah, and just share your thoughts with us.
Ah, man, what a time to be in. Um, I could honestly say that I've been waiting 25 years for the revolution to take place, and it's actually a pleasure that I'm able to take part of it in the prime of my life. Where I'm young enough to actually appreciate everything that's going on and everything that has taken place for us to get to this level. Even though it's sad to say, so many people had to die, and then George Floyd had to be the straw that broke the camel's back. Um, People have said in the past revolutionaries have said that there's no revolution without bloodshed. So sad that has to actually be the truth for us
Right.
as a nation to collectively wake up together, which
Mm-hmm.
is, it's a blessing and it's not, but for the most part, to see white people, white America, to collectively wake up together,
Yeah.
I didn't think I'd be able to see that in my lifetime, to be honest.
Yes.
And I've been through life saying there's two types of America. There's white America, and then there's the rest of us. Um,
Right.
so now, I smile when I go to these protests, and I'm just like, are you being genuine? Do you genuinely
Right.
feel like this?
Right.
But yeah, I came across a lot of white people have like traumatic stories from police officers. I met a stockbroker who actually had his license pulled because a cop planted some cocaine on him just to make a bust.
Wow.
And I met
Wow.
him. I met him 4 nights ago in Manhattan, and he was just like, I was fresh out of college. I was a little mouthy because I knew my rights, and then before you knew it, my life was turned upside down. So I'm out here not just for George Floyd. I'm out here for all the college graduates. I'm out here for everybody else that looks like me that have untold stories because the two different Americas don't actually speak to each other. And
Right.
that happened in Manhattan. So, there's a lot of
I'm
undercover stories. Yeah.
I'm
Go ahead.
glad I'm glad you mentioned that because that's something that we need to take note in, right?
Mm,
This happens to so many of us in so many different ways, right? So
yeah.
that's why we just have to come together for the purpose and not take away what the message is. Like right now we lost, two Black American people
Yeah.
who didn't even deserve to die. Like the reason why they were killed is so insignificant, right? And this is why
Mm,
we have to stand up, but this is why we have to come together because it can happen to any one of us. Like I know we know someone, I think it was maybe about 8 years ago, a Latino brother who got killed by a police officer on his block, and they thought
mm.
he was pulling out a weapon, was pulling out his cell phone. So it can happen to any of
That
us.
just
That's why we have to
happened.
come together.
Didn't that just happened to a Hispanic brother? He was like 22. He was one of the
Yeah.
looters,
Mm-hmm.
and he was on his knees, and no, he was pulling out a hammer to give it to the cop, and they shot him on his knees. That's one of the stories that takes place at night that people don't know about. Like,
Right.
NYPD loves playing the victim role, but they're the ones who are victimizing people after dark. And they also tell the media where they can and cannot film. So a lot of the media has actually been, CNN is good for this, but has been sneaking into the protests. And they're not carrying these big, huge shoulder pad cameras. They're carrying like these little small joints, and
Mm-hmm.
using their cell phones as a mic to be in the middle of the chaos.
Mm-hmm.
So they get their hands on the good stuff. But
Right. So you do you think they're
yeah.
doing this because they want to catch it from a police officer standpoint, or from just in general to televise and let us know what's really going on?
I think international media and national based media sources are an absolute shock that they themselves have not captured the whole picture that they wanted to capture throughout the years. And this, what we're going through right now, has multiple different layers, and those
Mm-hmm.
multiple different layers spiral out to different outcomes. So media now is now realizing that they're way more biased than they've have been conscious of over the years, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they'll tell us about these spot cases of police departments who have been abused, and this black person over here, this black person over there, not realizing how systematic racism actually affects solid black communities. So like if you talk to any brother off the street, most brothers interact with police officers in a negative manner around 12 or 13. And then they'll tell you a story year after year how cops, quote unquote, check in on them. Especially some of the boroughs out here, what they do is they have these kids go through these after school programs like PAL basketball and this and
Mm-hmm.
third, learn their face, learn their name. As soon as they hit puberty, they become a threat. And now they're
Mm-hmm.
checking in on them. They G check them every year or so, couple of months out of a whole year. They get popped for little things. They're not, ticketed. They're not brought to jail. They're released with a warning. And then once they hit 18, 19, now they become a man in police officers' eyes. Now they can start
Mm-hmm.
racking up charges. So that's how systematic racism starts on the police side in black neighborhoods. Now, I'm
Wow.
not from New York. I've only been living out here for 5 years. I'm actually from Hartford, Connecticut. But I
Okay.
grew up in a white town outside of Hartford, Connecticut named Windsor. And my first interaction with a police officer was at 12 years old. The first time I had a gun pulled on me by a cop was 15. So
Wow.
I'm 41 now, showing my age. Black don't crack. But going forward, every year, even as a business owner, I'm checked by cops that they are watching me. Like when I first moved out here, I was getting profiled left and right. I still got cases that I got to battle with because of COVID. It's been pushed to 2021 about racial profiling that don't even make any sense to anybody who hears them. Like I got pulled over at a red light in the middle lane in Harlem for using my cell phone at night, but I wasn't using my cell phone. My cell phone lit up in the council, and the cop saw it from the street, walked over with his hand on his gun, talking about pull over. And I'm like, for what? I'm in the middle of traffic. What am I pulling over for?
Right.
Little things like that. But
Yeah, that's crazy that you
yeah,
say about the um police officers being in the community when the youth is younger. And
yeah,
because my sister and I were having this conversation today actually, and she was saying, um we remember when we were younger in New York City, and the police officers used to come into our community. We used to get to know them. They used to build a rapport with us, but we didn't
because you
look at
weren't a
it from
threat.
that perspective.
You
Right.
guys weren't
We
a
didn't
threat
look at
then.
it that they
Yeah,
were building that so they can then start watching them, because they figured we were a threat from a young age.
yeah. And
That's
these
really crazy.
yeah, these programs that police officers have, they create them because they're tax write-offs. They're not creating them because they actually care about the
Because they
community.
care.
Because a lot of times the police officers come in and stay on for 10, 15 years and then spiral out and go do something else or go be detectives or SWAT or something like that.
Right.
But I see these little kids running around with these PAL banners. They don't understand it. They get these little cheap dollar store badges from the cops and they're happy, you know. And
Mm-hmm.
then you got to look at the officer's eyes. Like you could tell, like this is all a game, man. It's all a game.
Right.
Just like there was a little girl at a protest with a little girl who was crying, and the cop knelt down and was just like, she was like, "Are you gonna shoot me?" And he was like, "No, no, you can be out here protesting everything." And then he followed up and said, just don't break nothing. That right
Mm,
there told me, I was just like, yeah, he's
mm,
profiling this little girl right here because you can follow her throughout social media.
right,
You know what I mean?
right. That's
So
crazy. That's horrible. So what do you
yeah.
think about like that makes me think about our own, right? Our own culture when they become police officers and things like that. And I don't want to go too deep into that, but
Mm.
what do you think about that? Do they normally like put once they become officers, take them out and put them in other neighborhoods? Is that what they normally do so they won't be
No.
integrated with the neighborhood they came from?
Um, it depends on what precinct you're with. What the crime looks like around that precinct.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I can honestly say that when black cops go into police academies for the first time, they have the rookie mindset. I'm going to change the system from within. A lot of these cops going in don't realize that the police were originally slave catchers. So you can't change a system like that from within if you're a nobody. You have
Right.
to deconstruct it and build something else that's around law enforcement, but doesn't have the same evil roots as
Mm-hmm.
police do. But sometimes they put them in their neighborhoods as ambassadors, right? So if you want to relate it to slave times, that's just like taking the house slave and putting them in the field and being like, you're going to be the voice of the master. And
Mm-hmm.
that's how we see it in the streets. That's why when black kids leave and come back as cops, they have no respect because we're not falling for the okie doke. We know what the
Right.
okie doke is. Like
Right.
out here when I was out in Manhattan protesting, right?
Mm-hmm.
They were putting all the black cops on the front lines between the protesters and the white cops. So all our rage was focused on the black cops. But what we were doing was saying, you're on the wrong side of history now.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to be a black cop protecting white cops who are whispering in your ear on video.
Right.
And we actually made a couple of black cops cry because we're awakening them in the middle of what's happening. There's no reason why you're being thrusted ahead of a white cop. That's like protecting your master.
Right.
Especially if you're the same rank, it's crazy. So me myself, when I see a black cop, I see a Hispanic cop, I see an Asian cop, I see them as the worst cops ever because they know what white cops are doing in their neighborhood. And just like this Asian dude, Tao, who was watching this dude getting choked out, you can see in his eyes that he's terrified, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he himself is submitting to the white supremacy that's killing George. And it's
Mm-hmm.
not even touching him.
Hmm.
So that makes it even worse that I can't even look to you as a person of color or a black person and
Right.
be like, I can actually be helped by you. It's going to
Mm-hmm.
even be worse. And I see black cops showing out in black neighborhoods all the
Right.
time for their white partners, beating the fire out of people that they grew up with in their community.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
There was a certain community. I'm not gonna name
yeah,
any
no no
names or
snitching,
anything like
no
that.
snitching, no snitching.
Right, right. But there's a
Yeah,
certain
yeah.
community recently that I spoke out about on my social media. Sorry, social media.
You
It's
good?
pouring outside right now.
Mm-hmm.
That I spoke out on my social media, and basically, that particular moment showed unity between the officers and the people who were speaking out. But it was only because the people that were speaking out on the officer's side, and they were basically agreeing without even saying it that they would be racial profiling and stopping any riots coming from outsiders into the neighborhoods. And
Yeah,
that's the first time that I've ever seen like that type of agreement. But again, it's like you're saying, it was because they were agreeing to their way of doing, to the officers' way of doing things, and how they
yeah.
wanted to stop the what was going on, and the looting and things like that. So that's so crazy. I also saw something. I'm pretty sure you did too. So I think they were saying that the
It's cool.
Minneapolis.
Minneapolis.
That's a
It's
Latino
cool.
accent.
I hear it. I hear it.
Minneapolis.
Yeah.
They were gonna dismantle the police department, and then they also went on to say that this was part of what George
They're gonna
Floyd's
try.
movement was.
They're gonna
that this
try
is
to dismantle that.
right. They're gonna try to dismantle it,
Yeah. I'll tell you why though
spectators,
later.
yeah, and
Yeah.
spectators, and I saw a few posts of people saying that this is what part of what George Floyd's movement was, and that is it's
Mm.
all been systematic, and this is part of the reason why they took his life. I don't, I'm not saying that's true or anything like that, but
Yeah.
that's something that I definitely heard. But they did also say that they're banning the chokeholds and I guess that they're working on a few things over there. But I also heard that Minneapolis is a major state that holds that holds weight when it comes to voting. It's like one of the deciding
Yeah.
states.
Yeah.
So that's also something to think about during this time. But it as far as like people coming together and the protests and everything, it's been really great. We've had all 50 states come out. We've had 18 countries participate. Like you said, you never thought you would see yourself walking next to a white American who's in support. And even a lot of the and maybe it's because the news is being, manipulated, but a lot of the protests that
Mm.
I see on the news, there's a lot of white Americans a part of the protest. So I think it's been a great thing, that people are coming together for the cause. I was talking to my girlfriend and she was telling me, it's just so tough and she's just so angry and everyone's so angry. Especially, Black Americans are angry because this just been like a history of things. Like some of the things she told me was like, they didn't want us to build in their communities, so we went and built in our own communities. Then they came and
Mm.
burned down the communities that we built. Then they created the jail system. Then they started aggravating our neighborhoods by drive-bys and bringing drugs and guns into our neighborhoods and things like that. So it's just been like a long history of so many things, so many things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So let me
So,
ask you this question.
mhm.
Did you want to add to that?
No, I wanted to respond to the Minneapolis thing first
Yeah.
before you ask your
Go ahead.
question.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why I said they're going to try to do that is because Minneapolis is huge Klan country, right? So the Klan actually runs the police, and that's why the police didn't listen to their mayors and governors when they're out in the street, because they have a long history of Klan, multi-generational officers, lieutenants, and everything like that. So the chokehold is a defensive mechanism out of fear. A lot of police officers are highly insecure, highly insecure. That's why when you see them by themselves, they're always quick to pull these weapons out because they don't know how to fight mentally, verbally. They always are quick to go physical. Most white officers are innately terrified of black people. Terrified. That's why black men get killed like this. They're terrified. Especially in Minneapolis, they're terrified. So they're going to try to dismantle it, but they're still going to have infiltrators. They're still going to have Klansmen that pop up into this police force. When all this dust settles,
Mm-hmm.
we still have to deal with white America, period.
Right.
White America only wants to deal with the problems that's in front of their face. They have not even realized that black people in general deal with racism every breath that they take. The reason why we deal with it every breath that we take is because we still have our slave masters' last names. So they don't even want to think about that. On top of that, they don't even want to think about that every black person in America is not African American. They don't even know the depth of our community. We see these little censuses and stuff like that that only talk about African American or African lineage, but we go into the categories of Afro Hispanic, Afro Asian, Afro Indian. We're mixed with this, we're mixed with that. They don't even want to deal with that. They want to deal with George Floyd's death, Breonna's death, somebody like that. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That's what they want to deal with, and then they have to deal with how police have been used generationally as a slave whip.
Yeah.
See, when I watch TV and I see people marching and stuff like that, I see too many white people talking. Too many white people talking about the black experience. They don't
Mm-hmm.
know anything about the black experience. They don't want to know what it is to be black in America unless it's Black History Month. or
Mm,
something like Juneteenth or something like that.
mm-hmm.
So when we're in the streets marching, Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter, and there's white allies with us, I spent my whole time checking them. Like, they're using their privilege to tell Black people how to express their rage and anger.
Mm-hmm.
How does that even sound? You're telling me that there is a right way and a wrong way to express my anger off systematic racism that I breathe every second of each day. It's a privilege for you to walk next to me, not a privilege for me to walk next to you during this. You know, People all day long say F Trump, F the police, F the government, da 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 da. So want a revolution so badly, but they're scared to revolt. Scared to revolt. People are scared of a car being on fire, a building being on fire, this being on fire, that being looted, even though it has 100% insurance. This, and the third. You're scared of all of that because you can't think about what it is to be oppressed every single day. When I was walking in these protests and I see these kids jumping in and out these buildings and stuff like that, I was just like, you know what? I'm not a thief. I don't set things on fire. I don't commit grand larceny. I don't do none of that. However, I know why they were doing it. It's not just, hey, I need these sneakers in the store. They're burning down the establishment in their mind. I'm breaking everything that's not Black owned in a white neighborhood
Mm-hmm.
because this is how angry I've been for years. You got to think about it. You're conscious of your physical being at 5 or 6 years old. So if you've been oppressed since your early teens and you're in your 20s, that's 10 plus years of oppression
Right.
bottled up, pure anger. People are stressing these little buildings and stuff, little inanimate objects that are on fire and stuff. White America better be happy that Black America is only searching for equality.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine if Black America was searching for revenge. Think
Mm-hmm.
about it. We have been the supermajority since slavery, but everybody's been telling us that we're the
That we're the
minority.
minority.
We've
Mm-hmm.
been on slave ships 1,000 deep to a crew that's 50 deep. Go to a plantation where we're 500 deep to a household that's 5 deep. And you're telling me that we're the minority.
Right.
So this is the type of anger, like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm angry every day, but it's like a steady, conscious anger. It's not like I'm just gonna go like kill somebody randomly. It's just,
Right.
just conscious of everything that happens every
Thank you
single
for
day.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I can only imagine being an immature, it sounds funny me saying this, but an immature 20-something-year-old person,
Mm-hmm.
um, running out and seeing that white America for the first time is scared of you, terrified of you, so
Mm-hmm.
terrified of you that they won't even stop you from committing crime.
Right.
This is the first time
I did
that
see
black
that. Yeah.
people that black people have collectively have power in America. This is the first
Mm-hmm.
time. So there's a lot of virgins running around in the street who are experiencing power that they've never had before. Power over police, power over government, power over the people around them, running around for the first time. So you're going to get everything from vandalism to arson to people who want to just shout in the street for the first time without being arrested.
Right.
Shout in the face of the people who generationally oppressed them for the first time. So when people talk about these little reforms when it comes to police stations and this, the third, you got to pay attention to the color of the person who's actually talking. If it's not
Mm-hmm.
a brown person, it doesn't matter if it's Black, brown, Asian, whatever. If it's a white person talking, we're going to have to deal with the same thing 10 to 15 years from now. Watch. I'll
Right.
be an 80-year-old man walking down the street. I thought we did this in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's gonna be the
Right.
same thing, but for what it is right now, we gotta live in the
And that's the
moment, I
sad. That's the
guess.
sad part. You know what I mean? That's the
Yeah,
sad part. That
yeah,
we continue to fight the same fight, just in a different time.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know.
Yeah,
And I'm glad you shared
yeah.
that perspective with us, about, the looting and things like that. I also saw someone say something. I think I posted it. That said, in 100 people, there's always that one person, who's really outraged, who really, doesn't know how to control their emotions well, or, whatever the case is, whatever they're feeling when they're going into these businesses and looting and things like that.
Yeah.
So he said, imagine if 100,000 people are getting together, so one out of 100. So of course it's going to be of, more of that one person, so that's why
There's
the
also different
the
types of
numbers
looters
grew
too.
in looting.
There's also
I'm
different
sorry.
types of looters. There's different types of looters. So,
Right.
so, so these are the different types. I'll tell you since America doesn't know, right? There's a looter who is going to spray up a building. People say that's graffiti, whatever. They're gonna spray up a building, spray up outside of it. Just want to outwardly vandalize the establishment, take away its beauty or whatever, and then walk away. Then there's the looter who wants to break stuff. They'll break into a building just to break stuff. What they didn't show you on the media was there was looted. They looted in Soho, I think it was Prada or whatever. They were stealing stuff out the store and then burning it in the street. They weren't taking it. They just wanted to
Right.
damage it, And then there's the other looter which people focus on, which is the person who's driving through running through the windows, grabbing a whole bunch of stuff and running out. So there's three different types, right? So all these looters are generally non-violent. You have to watch them work. They're so scared of what they're actually doing that they're snatch and grabbers. They're done like in 10 minutes. They're not
Right.
standing there looting unless it's thousands of them back and forth, you know. So, and then people want to focus on that. But, white America is tricky because they loot African countries, put the stuff in museums, and then charge black people to go
To
see
go
the
and see
stuff
that.
that that they have looted. Now white America is mad because Nike got looted for some $50 sneakers, but you looted my whole history. So
Right.
why would I be mad that someone's looting a building that's a penny in a bucket to the things that white America has done to us? You know what I mean? So like looting is scary if you're a black owned establishment, if you're a brown owned establishment, and these are the people that you service. But then there's an underlining thing of black America that even people of color don't even want to realize. People of color will move into black neighborhoods, set up all these businesses, but never hire any black people. We'll even tell black people you're not welcome here, and then get mad when your store is on fire in the middle of a revolution.
Right.
Anybody who is anybody would know that if you're in a black neighborhood or any neighborhood, you service those people, hire those people. They will protect your store,
Agree.
But in America, it don't make sense to do it like that. We just want to pimp black America for all it's worth. Now that everything's on fire, oh, we're allies, we're friends. You got insurance. If you have a business that's in the building, you got insurance. You should just sit back and collect. You shouldn't
Right.
even be mad. Just collect your insurance money and be
Yeah.
quiet.
And
Because
my friend Chai Chan, he made a point also. He said this country was founded on looting, i.e., the Boston Tea Party. Yeah.
it wasn't
Yeah.
founded on that. That came later. That came later. Europeans looted this country from the natives that were here first, and then brought slaves over here to build it, looting them from their own country. And now white America wants to play victim? Please. They don't even talk about okay, we're focused on police brutality, right? No one talks about police rape. Police officers rape so many women out here.
Yes.
It doesn't matter if
And
they're
murder
prostitutes.
so many women.
Yeah, like I know countless women, and it's sad that I have to say this. I know countless women that have been either sexually assaulted or raped by NYPD. When I first moved here, there was a case of Brooklyn officers who raped a girl in the back of a paddy wagon, and then what happened is that when it went to court, there's a law that says it's not against the law for police to have sex with people. So they said that she offered all those officers sex while she was handcuffed,
Hmm.
and they got off.
Wow.
Now, how does that work? Now, we're focused on George and racism and police brutality, but we got to talk about it. We can't sit up
Hmm.
here and just be like, all they're doing is just beating and killing people. Yo, NYPD rape all the time. They
Yes.
rape in jail. The
Yes.
CEOs, when you get to jail, rape you. Women have stories all day long
It's
about
an
the rape.
abuse. It's an abuse of power. It's an abuse of power.
Yeah.
I agree that they need some sort of I mean, I don't know what the right answer is, but they need some sort of additional training also in the department, because
No training.
there's
No
also a lot
training
of
can train
domestic
you out of being
violence.
raped. No
Yeah, there's
training can
also a
train
lot
you
of
out of being a rapist, though.
no, right. No, you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
There's also a lot of domestic violence. They kill their wives.
They kill their
There's a
pets.
lot
They kill
going on.
everything.
Yeah.
The problem is that there's a fake psychological profile that test that they pass, right?
Hmm.
But they need real psychiatrists to
Exactly.
make these tests, not
Exactly.
some person who's been on the force for 50 years and know what they're dealing with. No, that doesn't make any sense. Like
Exactly.
on the front lines, when we're out here after dark, these cops. Okay, I'll tell you a quick story.
Yeah, let's talk
This
about that, because I know
Okay,
you
all right.
mentioned that
So
to me. Hmm.
so I could go into this all day long, trust me.
Yeah.
All right, so all right, the first night that I went out protesting, right? I was a peaceful protester. I was ignorant. Hands up, don't shoot. I'm gonna get on my knees. Yay, right? I'm not gonna tell you where we're at because I don't want to snitch on myself. But some protesters got on their knees in the middle of the street and was just like, "You can't drive past us." The police pulled up the van right to the nose, made it
Mm.
seem like they were gonna run over these people, right? So the crowd swarmed the van and started beating on the van to get them to back up. They backed up, parked the car, jumped out the car like they wanted to do something. So one cop stepped up and wanted to talk to the crowd. It didn't go over so well because he's arrogant as hell. Another cop came, the black cop, wanted to talk to the black people. We didn't even want to hear what he had to say because he was protecting his partner from all the arrogance that he was talking about. So as it moved forward, as it progressed over the minutes, the cops started getting more and more agitated because we weren't obeying them. So the white cop decided to jump in the crowd and start pushing people. The problem is that the people that he was pushing are off the block, and it's after dark. So they started pushing back. The cops started pushing and started swinging, and he got swung on and got stomped out. And then his partner came to save him. Partner started spraying pepper spray. These people ate it like it was banaka. He got beat up too. So another cop came, rescued them, brought them to the squad car. They sped off. These girls, I thought it was the white girls from Albany that torched the van, but it was a different girls who actually threw a bottle of some liquid on the van. We thought it was water, but after we saw the news, we're kind of thinking it was like gasoline or something. I don't know. But these officers swarmed these girls. They had to be 10 deep. They were stomping these girls out. These girls had to be like 5'4", 5'5". They were stomping these girls out. So where we were at the protest, we were like, we're protecting anybody. It don't matter, black, white, whatever. We ran over there and it was a brawl. 20 minutes. It had to be like 30 cops on like 20 of us, and we were just brawling. And this wasn't no like, hey, we're protecting our officers, and this was, we're gonna beat you up because there's nobody here. And it was on a dark side of a building with no light. So we were just brawling, and all of a sudden a wave of protesters came trying to break it up. A wave of cops came, and it was like it was a brawl, you know. And I've waited 25 years to get my hands on the cop, so I wasn't gonna stop. So it was just going, it was going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and then finally riot police came and broke everybody up. And then for 30 minutes, we were just going back at each other verbally. And then the news showed up, right? When the news showed up, they wanted to back off, act like, hey, we're victims in this situation. On the other side of the street, they were beating up a white protester. So our wave went on the other side of the street to protect the white protester, and we inadvertently surrounded these riot police, and then it turned into another scuffle, right? So another day I came out and I was in Manhattan, peacefully protesting. A cop wanted to run his car through a crowd of protesters with kids in it. So I threw myself in front of the SUVs that they use, and I put my hands up, and I was like, "You're gonna have to run me over. I'm not gonna let you run over these people." I don't have a problem putting my life on the line for people who are fighting for the movement. I've always been in that mindset. So I put my hands up like, "You're not gonna drive past me. You're not gonna drive past me." Now I'm looking at the cop car because obviously it's like a 1-ton truck in front of my face. This cop came out of nowhere, hit me in the side with a baton. And then when I turned around, we got into a scuffle because he wanted to fight in front of the squad car. And then they chased me 3 blocks after I broke away, like I was in the wrong. And then later on that night, I don't know if I sent you the video. I got videos. Or you gotta follow me on Facebook. So another night, they tried to drive another SUV through the back of a protest that we were in, and then jumped out of the squad car and started fighting the protesters who were peaceful. Now, we're not talking about, I'm going to take you and detain you. We were talking knuckles to chin, knuckles to chin. So we started brawling again. These are the stories that de Blasio doesn't know. De Blasio needs to take his big 7-foot self and walk at night with the protesters so you can see how NYPD actually rocks. Because the thing is that when you go out after dark, we have 2 sets of crews, right? There's a day crew that everybody sees on news and everything like that. And then there's the night crew who goes out and actually protests till the early morning. The night crew has 20 times the amount of negative experiences with NYPD that the day crew has, because the cameras are no longer there. Now you start seeing the brutality. Like I saw a cop crack the sticks are like 2-3 feet long, right? Crack that thing over a girl's head, knocked her out on the pavement. Then handcuffed her. She's limp. Handcuffed her, threw in the paddy wagon, drove off. No medical attention, right? I seen 2 cops beat down a senior citizen dude that was out there. He had to be in the 60s, not this cat who got pushed, but actually beat him down because he's a black man. Women rescued him. Women rescued him. And that's another thing. While I have your attention, I want to give a special thanks to all the women that are actually on the front lines of these protests, who are coordinating, organizing, and making sure that all the men don't step out of line, day or night. Day or night. So, but yeah,
Agreed.
so like,
thank you. I agree.
Yeah.
That also reminds me of a clip you sent me with that older white gentleman. I think it was in Buffalo, New York. It happened or something like that. He didn't do much, and they just pushed him, and he fell on his head, cracked his head.
But he's not the only person. He's not the only senior citizen they did that to. There was another clip across the country where they pushed a senior citizen who was walking with a cane, and they had to help him up. But this dude, right? You heard about the 57 officers that quit their posts, right?
Yeah.
In solidarity.
In
solidarity.
Right.
That's how you can tell that these cops ain't, you know what I'm saying? So like when we're out there protesting and stuff like that, we're peaceful, but we're well aware that NYPD does not care. This whole I want to take a kneel thing, the only reason why they're kneeling is because they're outed nationally. If George's video had never popped up and this had never popped off, they would have never knelt. They would have never been like, "Oh, we need police reform." And no, that would still be going on. We would still get beat up and set up by NYPD, But now, like 2 days ago, I was at a protest, and the day the verdicts were coming down and stuff like that, there was 150,000 protesters on the street between Manhattan and Brooklyn. Now everybody's in New York alone. I could say 75% of the residents here are against NYPD. But Cuomo and de Blasio keep beating a dead horse, keep throwing them in our face. And they have to realize that police officers are only police officers 50 hours out of the week. After that,
Right.
you're a regular citizen.
Right.
Police officers need to realize that, like, we're mad, but what if we were Minneapolis mad and actually pulled up at your house?
Right.
All these residents have they're withholding like true anger. True anger.
Mm.
Like true anger is I'm pulling up at your house.
Right.
Minneapolis, we're gonna be on your front lawn anger.
Mm-hmm.
NYPD keeps pushing it with some of these protesters, thinking that, you know, we're in full riot gear, we're gonna be protected, we're good to go, yada 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 yada. Nah, dog, we're letting you walk to speak to a bigger cause.
Right.
You
Right.
know,
Yeah, it's
the
crazy. It's
you
crazy.
haven't
And you
even
know,
yo take this mental. No, I'll let you talk. I'm sorry.
yeah, no, no,
DS has known me like I babble sometimes, like ramble, like talk.
you know, I listen,
um,
I want to thank you for sharing all this information with us. I really appreciate it,
no
you
problem.
know, for you to share your perspective. I really want to know, you know, I haven't been out there protesting. So I wanted to know what was going on, you know, firsthand from someone who
Yeah.
has been out there. I wanted you to share that information with everyone. I was going to say something about like the cell phone cameras and how
Oh,
vital
okay.
they have been. They've been so vital to showing us so much that has been going on that they weren't showing us in the past, that the news channels weren't capturing, like you
It's
said.
a double-edged sword though. It's a double-edged sword
Yeah.
though. Let me say this real quick, and I'll jump on that.
Mm-hmm.
Keep in mind that you haven't seen the gang members yet, the black gangs of New York. Just keep that in mind. Like if things were really really wild in the streets, it'd have been a shootout by now. Like we're really about, you know, ending racism and bringing a highlight to police brutality. But there's
Mm-hmm.
shooters in the street that don't care at all, and
Right.
NYPD keeps pushing their relatives that are peacefully protesting. That's what they're not thinking about. They're thinking about what's right in front of them and not the long-term game, which is chess. But yeah, what was I talking about? Sorry, I'm starting to get a little hot. Oh, the cell phone,
um.
cell phone, cell phone, cell phone. All right,
Yes.
so
Yes.
it's a double-edged sword because I'm gonna be honest, and I put this on a Facebook post, right? If I'm on the ground getting choked out and you got a cell phone in my face talking about we recording this, and I survived the encounter with that police and I get out of jail, I'm coming to your home and I'm gonna F you up. Because I don't want you to sit in my face talking about I'm recording, I got you, I'm recording. No. This cell phone culture is dope, but more people need to rescue people over recording the last moments of death. There was like 15 people on the street that was watching George get choked out. They
Right.
could have intervened. You could have pushed the cop off his neck. You didn't have to beat him up. You didn't have to rescue him. None of that. And people were stressing the 8 minute, 40 seconds that he was being choked out. There's another video of him in the back of the squad car getting beat up by these cops. They beat him up for like 10 minutes first. After he was fighting them off, they put him out of the car, jumped on his back, and choked him out. Now you want to tell me you're going to sit up there and record for that, talking about, we got you, we got you, we got you. Bruh,
Not doing
you
anything.
better rescue me because I'm coming to your house and I'm fortunate. I'm telling you. Because I'm out here, I see strangers get beat up by these cops.
Mm-hmm.
My first thing is get off Facebook Live and go check these police officers. It doesn't matter if I get arrested or get hit or whatever. I can't stomach watching someone die in front of my face without doing nothing. So
Right.
I get people, you know, I feel like I'm not strong enough to step in. I'm scared, I'm stunned or something like that. Just sit in your room for 8 minutes and count how long that is.
Mm.
How are you going to be scared for 8 minutes? That's
Right.
in action. You're an accomplice too. If you screaming in my ear, oh, just comply, bruh, save me,
Mm.
save me. We can
Yeah.
both go to jail together. I'll pay your bail. Save me. But I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
It is a blessing, and it is showing what the police officers do. But
Hmm.
on the flip
Yeah,
side of
because
that,
they weren't releasing their body cameras
yeah,
to
not why would
yeah.
you? Why would you?
Hmm.
It's a biography of death. That's all it is. You
Hmm.
know, we're showing these videos, but white supremacists are loving these videos. Oh,
Hmm.
kill that N word, kill that N word.
Hmm.
The Ahmad, they released the story that he got hit by the truck first. He got hit by the truck first. As he was being chased down, he got shot up, and he was still defending himself. You know what I mean? Like, that's crazy.
That's crazy.
Brianna caught a bullet to the head sleeping in her bed.
Sleeping. Yeah.
That's crazy. You
Yeah.
know, these things are crazy, and people want to tell me I gotta peacefully protest.
Yeah.
I can't show that I'm angry.
Right.
Are you out your damn mind?
Right. Yeah.
I'm angry. Like when I walk down the street, if a cop don't say hi to me, I'm mad. All cops should be on their best behavior right now. All of
Right.
them.
Wow.
Instead they're covering their names. They're
Hmm.
taking their names off. They're covering their badges. So when you see them out here and you see that black bar, they say, "Oh, it's solidarity." Nah, bro, you covering up your precinct. That's what you're
Hmm.
doing. I don't get your name badge on.
Wow.
You know.
That's
So
crazy. So let me ask you this.
yeah,
Do you think a part of the also the anger, I mean, I believe that that is true. A part of the
mm,
anger is because of the accountability is not happening. But they're not putting the officers in jail fast enough. They're not giving them the time that they're supposed to be doing, because aside from the uniform, like you said, they're only officers 50 hours out of the week. So they're
yeah,
the other time they're civilians. So basically you got to look at it from that perspective. Like, this was a white man killing a black man, like
mm.
outside of the uniform. So do you think we were responding faster to and putting these officers in jail and giving them the jail they deserve? Do you think that the outrage would be less?
Nah, because you got to think about it like this. Look at the gang structure, right? If a gang leader sent out 15 people to kill someone, right, and all the people who murdered these people got locked up, but the gang member leader was still on the street, do you think things would change?
No.
Nope.
Right.
It's the same thing with these captains and lieutenants and all
Mm.
these people. If they still
Yeah.
got a job, same thing's gonna happen. So
Right.
all of this is momentary. All of
Yeah.
this. Look at D Essence. We see you,
I know,
D
right?
Essence. We know. We're looking at the clock. Be
Getting everybody in
easy.
line.
The conversation is
But
good. Be
listen,
easy, bro.
but listen, thank you so much again.
No doubt. No doubt.
We do
No.
only have about a minute and 30 seconds,
I
but
know how it go. I
thank you
know.
so much again for doing this. I really appreciate it. I want to connect with you after this. I have two other brothers coming on, but definitely, I'm gonna send you my phone number so we can talk. I really appreciate it. Thank you for sharing, your experiences and your perspective on this whole thing. I really appreciate it.
I
Thank you.
appreciate
Thank you
being
so much.
interviewed.
Yes, thank you, and thank you for everything you're doing. You're out there, so thank you so much.
No problem. No
All
problem.
right, all
All right.
right.
I'll
So
talk to you.
we'll talk and we'll connect. Stay safe.
Most definitely. Peace.
All right, take care.